Xiaomi has been busy. They've recently announced not only the Mi AI speaker, which is a $45 competitor to Google Home, but also the brand new Mi 5X. Now the Mi 5X is essentially a $230 smartphone set to obliterate the budget smartphone competition. Let's get started. Now, one of the standout features of the Mi 5X are the cameras. When they were launching the smartphone, the company made a big deal about how the camera setup on this phone is more or less identical to the one seen on the Xiaomi Mi 6. Now, bear in mind that that is a phone that not only costs far more, but is also one of the best smartphone cameras we've ever seen so far. So if we can get something that's even close to that kind of experience on a budget smartphone over here, that's going to be amazing. We've got two 12 megapixel sensors, and they're capable of 4K video as well as 120 frames per second slow motion. Unfortunately, we can say with a fair bit of certainty that this camera won't be quite as good as the one seen on the Mi 6. We've got a Snapdragon 625 here compared to the 835 on that smartphone, and that alone is going to mean slightly slower focus times and slightly slower shutter times. Also, the image sensor used on the Mi 6 was a Sony Exmor sensor, a high-end flagship Sony sensor, whereas the one we're seeing here is by a company called OmniVision. So it's likely to not be quite as capable, but at the same time, quite possibly the best smartphone camera we've seen sub $300. Now, the reason for the title of this video is the fact that this phone ticks every single box. It is a fast phone. We've got the Snapdragon 625, which, built on a 14nm process, is a very good balance between efficiency, speed, and performance. It's good enough for fast 1080p gaming, it's good enough for all sorts of media consumption, but it's also very easy on your battery. And the Mi 5X is also completely fine when it comes to storage. It's got 64GB internally and room for another SD card. We've got 4GB of RAM and a battery that is just over 3000 mAh. And what you might be starting to notice here is these seem like flagship specifications but slightly trimmed down. And that is exactly the impression we're getting from the Mi 5X. Xiaomi's Mi line of smartphones, they are their premium line of smartphones, slightly different to their Redmi line of smartphones. And in this line of smartphones, they're essentially trimming down their most expensive smartphones. So instead of creating a budget phone that is built for budget purposes like the Redmi phones are, the Mi phone essentially feels like a flagship phone, but just not quite as good as the upper end flagships. But in that sense, it might achieve its goal rather well. Because of its premium origins, the Mi 5X actually has far more premium build materials and design aesthetic than its more budget-oriented devices. It has a full metal unibody, the latest version of Android, and it will also be the first smartphone in the world to have MIUI 9. And MIUI generally is one of those operating systems that a lot of people have a bit of a love-hate relationship with. There are some great things about it, all the customization, all the features built into it, but at the same time it does feel very bloaty. The icons feel a little bit unnatural, a little bit childish, and that tends to turn some people off. And with MIUI 9, a lot of that is not about to change. But what is truly exciting here is that with this upgrade, Xiaomi has taken a serious focus on performance. They focused on improving app launch times, improving resource allocation, and the efficiency of the operating system. And so we can reasonably expect even better battery life, even better RAM management and multitasking, and even better performance. So that is the Mi 5X. That's everything we can realistically say about it until we get our hands on and we really sink our teeth into it. Which I'm planning to do, by the way. On paper, it seems like more or less the perfect jack of all trades. The phone that can pretty much do anything you want to with your smartphone, and reasonably well at that. The only potential downside could be the battery, which is slightly on the smaller side, but then we're hoping that MIUI 9 is going to make up for it. So with that being said, I really hope you enjoy the video. I'm Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'm signing out.